So, recording again. So, to finish up with the whole monument thing, we looked at all of them, and we're finding out that a lot of these people were afraid of the fact that the whole thing with Q was that a lot of it originated with George Washington actually being King George. And because of this, a lot of people were afraid to identify it for some reason. I don't know why. And it basically scared the shit out of some people. Which made people come to the conclusion that Q basically had full control over the country. Alright, so now we're basically dealing with people that are constantly trying to justify their fear of this by trying to avoid the problem by bringing up different problems. Such as what happened with at Ellis Island. The whole thing with migrants being brought there, some disappearing.
It was
Things like that.
an internment camp, guys. There's a lot, etc. And the museums all have placards. Placards say it's all theory. If they don't state it's all theory, they can't get their grants because then they would be misrepresenting misinformation to the public, basically lying, and that's a big problem. So everything you see there is just theory. And I don't have a problem with that. Good, we should theorize. We should think about it. But bullshit is bullshit too. And those, just think about it. A 7-foot man, I said this in my video yesterday, a 7-foot man has a hard enough time with the compression. They break their bones more, they get a lot of aches, and they tend to die younger, same as it's dwarfism and giantism. And I studied, guys. So my lane is psychology, biology, chemistry, all of that. I'm very scientific as well as I am creative. So here's the thing. Imagine 15, 20-story tall animals. If a 7-foot man has a hard enough time with the weight, something bigger than that, its bone is bone. It won't sustain itself. It's strong, but it was only meant to be sustainable with certain heights of human beings. So I'm pretty sure that the dinosaurs are bullshit. That's what my great-grandmother told me too, and they were never taught. She said, oh, this is something new. And then they said, oh, but these were discovered before that. Okay, which is it? You know? And go ahead.
I don't really have much to say about them. They're probably fake, just to basically push the whole thing about fossil fuels, which we're finding out most fossil fuels, let's just say fossil fuels is probably not the best name for them, because oil and all that is generated from somewhere in the planet. And if there's a limited resource of it, then we're going to be completely relying on electric long before we run out, from what people are saying. And there wouldn't even have been enough dinosaurs to create enough fossil fuel to do any of that. So it's not even plausible for dinosaurs to have existed for that purpose. Anyway, ready for the next thing?
Yes.
Okay, so next thing, these people kept trying to run through a whole bunch of different information, trying to justify why they were afraid and why they've not been able to rescue us and not being able to help us with the intellectual property theft.
For years
which
now.
Most of these people have had possession of my mom's intellectual property, which, since these are the people that are saying that they're afraid or showing that they're afraid and shit, it really just sounds like they just don't want to help with intellectual property, because they just led us on this wild goose chase.
And it really has nothing to do with my lineage and the crown and everything like that. That's easy to deal with. It's the intellectual property theft, and it's like, that's not my fault. I didn't tell these people to steal it. I didn't do anything wrong. I shouldn't be punished for it. In other words, like, why am we're imprisoned here, and it's unjust. And, you know, we'll get ourselves out. We'll just go back home and file the biggest blank lawsuit ever, and we don't even need to hire an attorney, because between the three of us, my husband's studying for bar, I'm no dummy. Obviously, I wrote the dissertation and my husband proofed it to make sure, you know, everything was legally stated properly, and he had very little corrections to make. So, you know, they should be very afraid. I'm very astute with that. And so, I'm concerned that Qs and some people in the Senate, and there are some Qs in the Senate too, but additional people might try to kill us. Really, I'm very concerned. I'm not afraid, but I'm concerned. And, this is bullshit. I should have utmost protection because I'm like a key witness to all of this because it's my intellectual property. But really, all of this suffering over intellectual property, really, it's like that big of a thing. And
they can't justify it.
No, they can't, because I keep saying, and I said it in the dissertation, work with us, help us. I wanted all these things. I didn't even say lawsuit or anything like that. I said stop or else. I said I want my money for everything you used. I want credit. I want you to help my career along to be where and who I should have been before they enslaved me.
Yeah, which some of these people don't seem to get that part for some reason.
The good part, that helps them.
Yeah, and that removes liability.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are fine with that. They've pretty much agreed to that.
Yeah, that's true.
The rest of them are, not wanting to respond to that. It makes it look like they have more crimes on them than not with other things, but...
I don't know nothing about that other stuff, though.
But you know what? That stuff is between them and the diggers that dig for the information for us, I'll be honest.
Yeah, you hire diggers, but the digging has already been done. That's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a feeling that President Trump was being cool and saying, no, this is going to work, don't worry, I think he wanted to accept some liability, and I think he just decided to pull out of that because we basically told him what the Senate wasn't doing. And, guys, he wanted you to care for us and help us. And after everything that has happened, you're completely in the wrong and we're completely in the right. So how would you like it if, we sue you now? We gave you a chance. We did our due diligence. Everybody else did it. And it's like, really, are you hoping that we die? How evil are some of you people? Some of you are really great. Thank you. But some of you are so evil that you wish us to be dead over intellectual property? Are you stupid? I mean, wow. That's a high price to pay, willing to risk your family's supposedly good name, to risk your family, because they're not going to be able to outlive your bad legacy. It's going to follow you and them. Why would you do that to them?
I know. Basically, they're showing signs of being Q members themselves by doing that.
I know, right? The extended ring of Q. So what's the difference?
Yeah. But now the whole thing recently is that apparently that there's a represented double of my mom somewhere. We don't know if there's a casted actor or if it's a deep fake thing. Apparently people are seeing videos somewhere that are paralleling with our pages, basically.
Like, we see it for what it is, but other people see it for what it's not. So another example of that is when I published books on Amazon. It was originally CreateSpace. CreateSpace went away, and I guess it's back now. So confusing. And you got to ask, well, why did they go away and why did they come back? Probably to hide the evidence, or try to, but we already have what we needed, and officials have it, so, who cares? But when we would order the books, we would get the correct publication and published copy. When we would send copies out for contests, etc., another copy would be sent. Because I said, just send it directly, and I was trusting, who the hell would think that somebody would switch it out? So they made a double of my book, too. And the double of my book apparently isn't too cool. So why is that happening? And who did it? And it's just try to straw man me. Usually a straw man works because somebody does something wrong, and they could springboard off of it. But I haven't done anything wrong, not even slightly, so they basically have to fabricate bullshit about me and lie and disparage me. So now I can sue them for disparaging and trying to ruin my name. That's a crime. Yeah, pretty much. So not only is there intellectual property theft, but when they make a double of me, it's disparaging. Now, I help LGBTQ. I danced for them for free, mind you. I did. We hire people like that. 2, 3, 4, 5 of my partners were in the LGBTQ. Some were, some were gay, lesbian, trans, whatever. And it doesn't faze me. I'm like, okay, let's dance, we support them completely, whatever somebody wants to do, but I don't want to be forced to do it. I don't want somebody to do it to a double of me, because that would be disparaging. Not that LGBTQ is disparaging, but it's disparaging because that's not how I want to present myself, and it is a lie. And it would hurt me, because I make my character in behind the scenes, how I am with my family, how I present my brand, and it would tarnish my brand. Not because it would be LGBTQ, it could be anything that's away from my brand and what I want to have it represented as tarnishes my image and what I want. So it would be disparaging. It's a lie. It's slander too. Just like if someone was to say that I was an alcoholic and then they use that against me somehow, that's slander. It's a problem. It's a problem, and it's been made public, so that's another problem. Imposturing, identity theft, all of that. So yeah, don't misunderstand when I say, I'm not LGBTQ, I'm not trans, I don't want to be. It would be, disparaging and slanderous. That's what I mean. It's a legal term, and that is the definition of it. It doesn't mean that I'm ashamed of people who are like that. I have a lot of really good friends that are, and they would testify and say, yeah, she loves us. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
I just needed to disclaim that.
Yeah, I see that.
People are jerks.
On that note, we have already found people trying to steal or copy our identity, or trying to pose as my mom's daughter or something like that. That's bullshit. It's fake. Mom doesn't have a daughter, and just based on the information we're seeing, after we reported that intellectual, what was it called? Identity theft to the police, the identity got verified as this person living in our apartment right after we reported it as identity theft. So obviously the police are definitely not helping.
Yeah, I know.
And it looks like someone's purposely trying to really push identity theft on purpose. Now, we're also seeing that, as we were kind of hinting at before here, there's a person, a double, basically trying to represent my mom becoming a trans man for some reason.
Obviously, it's not happening.
So, based on this, we're also finding out that people are seeing 2 different feeds of our pages. I'm not sure how it's happening or something like that, but it seems like there's a whitelist and not a blacklist. I'm not sure if you guys understand how this works, but a blacklist would mean that no one would be able to see our feeds, and then Twitter or something would basically put whatever the hell they want in our feeds, but we would be able to find out about that just by using other devices. That is not what's happening. We are using other devices and we don't see that. It seems like other people's accounts are being forced to see something else entirely.
Exactly. So if you have somebody like, let's just make up a name let's pretend that this name is famous, Superstar, okay? Mm-hmm. And you have Superstar verified account, and Twitter may or may not, but we think that Twitter actually activates it and jogs a little thing, click, and they get to see all the fake stuff.
Yeah.
That's not really our stuff.
Yeah, let's look at it this way. It could be a regional-based whitelist that forces people to see certain things on our walls based on where they are, based on area codes and things like that. Basically based on places where we are not at any given time.
Yeah, and that is illegal, and we can sue for that because people have screenshots of that. And thank you very much. So,
So, anyway, something like this makes it very hard for someone to just create a new account and then just see what they can find because it's proximity based.
Yes.
And every cell phone and device has a built-in GPS of some sort. So people have to get a way around that. The government has ways around that. Regular people, famous people, they do not have ways around that, supposedly. But a lot of people, the verified accounts that follow us, probably notice something strange.
Yeah, so all of this is to keep the target, us, from seeing the truth. So just like we didn't see the truth of what was happening with our books because we thought the reality was we order the books, we get the right copy, and then everybody else in the public would get the right copy. We're not mad at Jeff Bezos, okay? We're homies, we're fine. Because,
Let's just say we kind of made an arrangement, an agreement.
We changed his mind.
Yeah.
He's on our boat.
Yep.
So, good for him. Because I'm Greek too, just like he is. So he did me good. And he better keep doing me good, otherwise we'll sink his little boat. Now, here's the other thing. We also know that we're winning. We also know that there is a meeting behind the scenes. We kept calling it a trial. Well, like you were saying, Q sees it as a trial, but they can't have a legitimate trial without due process, and I have to be involved. And now this meeting, they are representatives, and this is about me. And they're making a decision about me and my life and my son's life.
Yeah.
This is not acceptable. We have to be able to present our side of the story in person.
Yeah, I'll describe how it looks. Basically, technically, it's about trying to help us, but it's basically the people that are definitely trying to help us, trying to argue with people in the Senate and other people like that are playing devil's advocate to us and basically trying to find every possible flaw to helping us on purpose.
Not helping us.
Exactly. In other words, they're not advocating for us, even though they are also advocating for us technically.
Yeah, there are some people in our government that are really cool. Not many.
But I'm saying people are posing as all of them are posing as advocating for us. Some actually are, some actually are not. A lot of people are supposedly undecided, and it seems like we're swinging them towards wanting to help us. So, anyway.
Now, here's the thing that's wrong about this meeting. They're representing their constituents. Now, mind you, we're going to straighten out this Twitter thing, and if Twitter doesn't straighten up, they're going to be held liable for interference with a government operation to save our lives. And if anything happens to us, not only will Qs be held responsible, but if Twitter is doing what we think we are hearing about, they can be held responsible for, oh God forbid, our deaths.
Which it looks like.
And Q too.
And
the Senate.
Which, should I explain what happened recently on Twitter?
Yeah.
Alright, so a famous person supposedly blocked us, and then supposedly unblocked us, or more specifically, they unblocked, or they blocked and then unblocked my mom's account, or the business account. I'd have to look and see which one you showed me.
One.
Your personal one? Okay, the personal account. So the interesting thing is that there's only two possibilities. Either he doesn't know anything about what's going on, and Twitter basically blocked her, and then I comment saying, "Why did you block my mom?"
Because I say I love this guy all the time. I wasn't arguing with him.
And he looked and saw my thing, saw that he liked what I said, and then he looked at my mom's account trying to figure out who she was and if there's any reason he blocked her. He didn't see any reason because he didn't remember, and he unblocked her, and now everything's good, and didn't realize why she was blocked. That would mean that Twitter blocked her.
Tink, tink. That's all they do.
Now, the other possibility is that he does know who we are about this whole situation, and Twitter fucked with it on purpose based on that anyway, so either way, it ended up looking like Twitter's fault because he unblocked. This guy does not usually unblock people.
Exactly, but I mean, I love this guy, and I go around saying love you, and I'm always on his side too. That's why it was like, I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was even having a conversation with you.
Yeah, he only blocks assholes, really.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I was talking to him.
the only reason he would unblock is if he never intended to really block in the first place, or if a misunderstanding was worked out.
Yeah, either way, and we're cool and accepting of it. So my other video complains and bitches about it, but we're over it.
And as far as I can tell, since he didn't respond to any of us directly or anything like that, he just unblocked. That just by itself proves that Twitter probably pulled something, because we all know that Twitter changes a lot of things. I've already seen my followers, like, all of them switch out with random people.
I know, mine too. It's like, wait a minute, this was somebody else the other day.
Yeah, because half of them were just like fake female accounts, and now most of them have been switched out with pushing cryptocurrency accounts.
Well, yeah, I think that they decided that they were going to try to mostly kill me and then try to get you to fall in love with some woman.
Yeah, that's not
that they cast later as your wife, and then that wife is like kills you off like a Black Widow, and then she gets the crown, and it's really accused chick.
Mm-hmm.
This is so old.
Yeah, but
so boring.
Either way, it doesn't mean anything now because they're obviously all bots. But what was the point I was making? But Twitter blocks, obviously. We see that. We've seen proof of it. We've seen proof that Twitter switches out followers. They change their settings. This is known to happen on Facebook mostly, and now it's become more prominent on Twitter, which is interesting. But we see this on Twitter happening now, and it's all finagly shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you guys... and the thing is, this thing about being misunderstood... No, I'm not being misunderstood. People are being dumb. I'm not able to find out what the real problems are, so I can't explain myself. People think that, oh, you hint drop, and we get it, and then it's like, oh, well, let's clear this up. No, I have no idea what anybody's talking about. We might accidentally or coincidentally hit the nail on the head. And then fine. But here's the thing. Like how I said, it would be disparaging to me if somebody doubled me and made me trans, because it's not my truth.
Yeah, well, that kind of tells you they're trying to disparage you on purpose.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that I have anything against people, obviously. Look at who I've hired. Look at who I dance with. Look at my partners. I mean, yeah, that's not what it is. It's an illegal term, and that's where it stops and ends. Don't make anything of it. And if you do, I'm going to come after you legally, because I won't have it. Look, guys, we are artists, but we're not stupid. We are in the law field too, okay? So that's why I'm not concerned about filing a lawsuit. We're not like stupid, helpless people here. I'm not just a dancer, an athlete, and I have no brain. I had the brain first before I was a dancer. And I come from a very intellectual family. Poor, but very intellectual. A lot of us went through school, so I'm just saying, it's very important to me that it's understood, because then the cues will say, look, she doesn't like this, she doesn't like... That's not even true. I danced on Modern Family. I still get residuals. I have my credits. I have my paychecks that I get. So, don't even. And I did all that work for free for LGBTQ. People know that about me. So when I say it would be disparaging to me, it's because it wouldn't be true. It's not disparaging to me because I'm turned off by it. Look at the legal definition. It's anything that is not true that causes harm. And that would cause harm to me because I'm not that. My brand is that I'm very feminine and ta-da.
Yeah. In other words, people are trying to basically replace her and us so that they can basically control the intellectual property, and what happens to it and control the, what would be called the legal things to get everyone off the hook, supposedly. But I find that actually creates more liability.
What?
To knock us off and replace us, because basically they put murder and all this other stuff under their belts.
Well, yeah, but
crime.
some of these people already have attempted murder. I don't know who exactly does, but I mean, the car accidents, and they leave a little calling card underneath the floor mat. We almost died twice. And now they're here trying to play bumper cars with us again. I was like, no. And you know how many times people running us down, I mean, my whole life, these people have been after me, and I'm like, why me? Because my brother would be in line for the throne too.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Because a lot of it has to do with IP. Pretend that we were regular people, and their whole family was regular people.
Mm-hmm.
This problem would probably be like this a lot still. Except they wouldn't be necessarily trying to replace us, they would probably just be trying to knock us off completely. That would probably be the only difference.
Well, my father was almost knocked off, but in the same type of setup and car accident that I suffered with my son the first time around. The hitting from behind is like, wait a minute,
Mm-hmm.
At a really high, forceful speed. It was really, really bad, and these people are listening and paying attention. Our seatbelts in here are great. They're like, we don't move. A little annoying, but...
Yeah, they lock hard when they lock.
Even if you're not... We just move a little bit, and they're great.
Well, I pull mine all the way out so that it locks and it, retracts.
Yeah, no, that's good, but normally you don't have to do that. But, can I finish?
Sorry.
So, one of my dancers, we were in her car and she was driving, and I had said once to Jared, I said, oh my God, Carol's seatbelts, I get so nervous because they don't lock very well. And sure enough, Q made sure we were in a car accident while we were in her car. It looks so staged. Oh my gosh, it's like somebody called action. They all look that way, and once I started training my eyes to see the setup, I can say someone's coming up, they're approaching, and I can name right away which setup it is. That's how keen I became to figuring this out and how we've been able to avoid all of this. But it's been just terrible. But I was just always thinking, why was I always targeted? I don't know any of these people. And I was a child, for crying out loud. It's like, and you senators and stuff, a lot of you are older than me. Well, you should be like my uncles and aunts. But I know some of you stole my stuff. We have it recorded. And it's just like, why would you do that? I'm willing to forgive you guys. I would rather do that than sue the crap out of you and ruin your family's name, because that's what's going to happen if you don't help us. That is what's going to happen. And I would hate to have that happen for you. But, we really aren't going to have to spend too much money. And we have people that are willing to help fundraise for anything to cover not a legal defense, but a legal offense. Because we're going to go hard at it. And we're going to hire protection. Like, a lot.
It's going to look like someone else might be hiring protection for us.
Oh, yeah. We have some of that now. But it is uncalled for. I mean, we're winning. To you people who are sitting on the fence or being kind of lame and stupid about this, we're winning. Do you really want the enslavement for your children and grandchildren? Because that's what you're doing by not helping us. Let's really hit that home. Look, if you've done wrong, you sell out the person who did you wrong. This is easy. Leniency. We are willing to agree to it. It's in our dissertation, which you guys have.
Yeah, don't you guys watch the cop shows, Law and Order or anything? They work things out like this purposefully.
But we know the law anyway. My husband's studying for bar. I already know this stuff because my stepdad was an attorney. I study the law too. I wasn't thinking about being an attorney, but at this point I probably should study for the bar because I could probably pass it. Okay? I'm really good at this stuff, but that's not my aspiration. I'm a